Stan? Stan, is that you?
Daddy?
Hello, son. I love you.
Wait, that's not how Grandpa talks.
Okay, BTW, I have con cred, so sorry if I sound weird. And wow, Stan would really benefit from some therapy. And not like when he shrunk the family and the whole town, because I have a fear of ants and insect-related close-ups. Hi, I'm Kitty Monk, and I'm here to talk to you about American Dad. Or more specifically, Stan's father, Jack Smith.
We could call you Krampus.
That is my name.
No, like with a G, like Grandpa and Krampus.
Behind the line! Everyone needs to stay behind the line!
Yes, to get this out of the way, he is voiced by Darren Norris, who also voices Cosmo, Mr. Turner, Knockout, Spotswold, a bunch of other characters I'm probably forgetting, and whose ex-wife is now married to Steve Blum. But Darren Norris is happy and out of the closet, and his wife voiced Connie's mom in SU, and she was born in Newark, aka the place where I live and I was born, so I consider this an absolute win, as has been a theme in many of my American Dad videos, and a theme I did not intend for. Stan was kinda like Hank Hill growing up, just with a lot more parentification, as in he had a crappy childhood that informed a lot of his personality as an adult, and much like Hank, he starts the show off repressed as all hell, and then goes on a character journey of sorts. But unlike Hank, he does confront how bad his childhood was, recognizes it as such, and realizes it. The trigger for this horrible childhood was his father Jack, leaving his mother when he was a young child, as this led to Betty forcing Stan to take on Jack's responsibilities, despite him being, you know, a child.
Is it my fault?
Stan, look at me. Kind of.
Don't worry, Mama. I'll take care of you.
And also a whole load of other things, like Stan being forced to kill his dog and whatnot. Now, I should hate Jack. I mean, I basically made a career out of critiquing terrible parents in cartoons, especially fathers. Totally has nothing to do with my own life. Let's move on. And I feel like Jack doesn't get enough hate compared to other Fox grandpas. But kind of like Cotton Hill, I do like him in spite of that, since he does go for a mini arc of sorts in trying to be a better person, or at least a better father and grandfather. And it was sweet to see, albeit bittersweet for Stan. And then, much like Cotton, the show said screw that bull and regressed his character before they permanently killed him off. Ugh. So, let's discuss. Jack first appeared in the episode Con Air. Stan's dad has come over for a visit. I can't wait to meet Jack and hear his buttery smooth daddy voice.
Look, Dad, Grandpa came to visit.
Oh, hey, Dad. Steve, I hope you're Scotch-guarded. We can't flip that cushion again.
Wait, that's not Jack. That's some random old dude with a ball-sack chin identical to Steve's. Or mine. I hate my stupid chin. What is this? Stan doesn't care about this paradox of fate and ignores not Jack. I mean, he has more pressing matters on his mind. Bullock considers him a liability because he has a family, unlike Jupiter.
All the cool missions go to the young guys.
Stan, maybe you're just having a midlife crisis. You want to cheat on me?
A mistress on my salary, Francine.
OMG, imagine if Stan was a woman, how much crap he would get. Wait, that was an episode. Unfortunately, not Jack dies, or maybe he's just playing charades.
Okay, dead, lifeless, Lindsay Lohan's eyes!
Nope, he's dead. They hold a small funeral for not Jack, and Stan could not care less. Like, he treats it like he's going to the DMV to get his license renewed.
So, tacos? Who wants tacos? I'm buying.
Gosh, Dad, you're not even going to say anything about your own father?
Oh, he didn't like tacos.
And I kinda get it. What did not Jack do besides not be Jack?
Hello, Stan. Long time no partially see.
Yay! Jack's here! Muppet dances!
Just the most awesome super spy that ever lived. Francine, kids, meet Jack Smith, my real dad.
Wow, that's insane. Like, think about it. That's basically the kids' whole lives. Or Francine, their entire marriage. But I kind of wonder how Betty reacted to all this. Like, did Stan run it by her? Imagine her shock when she's at the wedding and she's like, Stan, who is this stranger? Would she play along? Oh my god, did they sleep together? Did she give him the idea to do it? I guess the honest answer is Betty wasn't planned out this early on. But yeah, it is weird with what we know now. As it turns out, Jack is a apparently a secret agent who has spent most of Stan's life on a secret mission to go to the store for milk and cigarettes. To be fair, it is hard to find both. And he entrusted Stan to keep it a secret. Wait, but what about not Jack?
Let's just say he's a beloved family friend who helped me in my hour of need. Listen, I'm getting married in 3 hours, and I need a pretend dad for the next 30 years.
I mean, couldn't you just lie and say your dad died or something? Or would that be betraying the secret, like if one day he actually did come back? Stan, of course, allows Jack to stay with the family, and Jack seems to dazzle them with his charisma. Or he at least tries, especially in Steve's case.
I brought you a Taliban snow globe. Shake it. That's real heroin.
I don't want a heroin snow globe. I want my fake dead grandpa.
The heck is wrong with you, boy? But I do get it. How do you know if it's pure? And remember, he only knew not Jack his entire life. He probably bonded with him. He was closest to him, and this random stranger just comes in expecting his love? It's convenient, I guess you could say. Even I would be a little weary, although I am around most people. Like, honestly, outside of this con crud, I sound totally different when I'm not at a con or on YouTube. Nobody in my life believes this is my YouTube voice. Also, I should get this out of the way now. This does lead to a rather interesting subplot down the line, as Steve goes to take care of the memory of Not Jack, where he meets Not Jack's old friend, and likely date to the key party, Gretchen.
Yeah. I'm gonna miss him.
Me too.
Nice. Obviously, this is wrong and gross and ooky, but I think it works here if only because of how out of the box it is. I really don't know. Like, it's random and everything. Later, Steve tells Snot, and Snot starts to fool around with Gretchen too. And when Gretchen gets confronted, rather than just saying he's gonna call the cop on her for committing statutory rape like twice, he just gets his heart broken. I don't know, it's weird. Like, I should hate this because obviously if Haley slept around with an old man, it wouldn't be funny, even if that would be a cool episode. Like, imagine Haley being like Anna Nicole Smith. But I don't know, I find it weirdly funny. I guess maybe it's because nostalgia is playing a bit of a role. This was one of the first American Dad episodes I watched. To show you how old I am, I used to watch this show in middle school, since I remember having a rather hilarious conversation with somebody I used to know when they first saw this episode, and I was on like my dozen free watch, and they were like, what the F? Like, there was this scene, they're like, oh, I'm gonna miss him. And they start making out, and I just started laughing like, that's the point. But as a critic, yeah, I think the fact it's out of left field is part of why I like it, even if Gretchen's statement of,
I don't have long for this world. Monogamy is for girls in their 60s.
Don't try to apologize.
you know, kind of gave me an existential crisis for a couple of months about old people, but thank God for sertraline. Anyhow, back to Jack. Jack says that on top of going on a top secret mission to find a pack of coals, right? The green cigarettes. I'm sorry, my grandma used to smoke them. He's part of a secret organization called the Scarlet Alliance.
So, you're a despicable CIA fascist like my father.
No, Dollface. I work for the Scarlet Alliance. It's more secret, more deadly, and everyone wears a turtleneck.
Do they also wear red A's on their boobies, or is that only for the women because misogyny? But as a commitment to Stan's weirdo Electra complex with Jack, wouldn't it be that because he's in love with his father? Wow, Stan has both complexes. Well, he actually lets Jack know that Roger is an alien, and Roger develops a crush on Jack in response, probably because, you know, he can't have Stan, so might as well have the next best thing.
Sorry, Dad, I should have told you we have an alien. I know it's against regulations, but, I kind of owe him my life.
Oh, well, in that case, we're square. Now scare me up some bourbon, spaceman.
Whereas, for reference earlier, Roger wasn't allowed downstairs when Not Jack was at the house.
A bugaboo?
Roger, you're not supposed to be in here while Grandpa's visiting.
Don't worry, Gramps. I'm just a faded memory of the girl you kissed on VJ Day, wandering through to get some Cheez-Its.
Which maybe it was because Not Jack isn't a relative, but cool to point out. Of course, nobody likes Jack at this point besides Stan and Roger, and with Francine, it's ruining their bedroom time. And don't you think it's kinda suspicious he just disappeared for 20 plus years only to reappear out of the blue? So he's gotta go. The next morning, Jack tells Stan that he's retiring from the Scarlet Alliance, and if Stan helps him with a mission, he'll get to join them, because they're totally better than the CIA.
You quit the CIA?
That's right. I have a chance to join the Scarlet Alliance.
A chance? You don't even have the job yet?
Well, to be fair, Franny, Stan's boss was treating him like crap. I don't think he did this just because of Jack. Jack was just the catalyst, not the instigator. It was like a long time coming, is my point. Jack says the mission will involve breaking into an art museum and stealing uranium from a shipment of Egyptian artwork. Wow, Stan is stupid. Ooh, are they gonna eat a mummy? But yes, it is too good to be true, as you might have guessed. Francine discovers from the FBI that Jack is really a jewel thief, and he left Stan because of his multiple crimes.
Dad, look at me!
You're not taking Stan on a mission. You're taking him on a jewel heist!
Keep your pretty mouth shut and everything'll be Punky Brewster.
Which is weird. Like, you think the CIA would have told Stan, or that the FBI would alert the CIA because he's in the area and they both have jurisdiction. Francine confronts Jack, who knocks her out, and tells Stan that Francine is a sleeper agent instead.
Ridiculous.
You're out of bourbon.
Dad, you missed it!
So he traps Francine in a giant cage in the basement while he goes with Jack on the heist.
Ready, son?
Sure, Pop. Dad's taking me on a mission, but first we're stopping for cheeseburgers and milkshakes. Jealous? Yeah, you are. You totally are.
Is that the same cage from Spelling Bee My Baby? You know, when Francine trapped Akiko so Steve would win the Spelling Bee? Ah, they kept the cage. Recycling! But the cage is kind of bigger in Spelling Bee My Baby, so is it the same one? Did they make some upgrades? Stan goes with Jack on the heist.
Son, breaking into a vault is like making love to a woman.
Right. So we should pound on it for like 2 minutes?
Wow, maybe Jack being around didn't ruin Stan's bedtime life, and maybe the poltergasm was a long time coming. Wait a second, did Viserys Targaryen take lessons from Stan? Stan discovers that Jack is a jewel thief.
They may contain clues or the down payment on a small island where I can swim and paint.
Francine was right. You're a thief.
What? Who could have thought? And Jack actually owns up to it.
Sorry, Stan. I can't go to jail. You know what they do to my eye socket in there?
But when Stan says he's going to take him in, Jack uses him as a fall guy, which makes me wonder if that's why he was really there. Like, was he there to escape the FBI because he needed, like, a couch to sleep on? Couldn't he just do the heist on his own? But Stan uses his CIA skills to free himself and places Jack under arrest. But Jack fakes another story and he escapes. And he makes a good point.
I'm sorry.
Yeah, well, I guess everyone makes mistakes.
Can't you just let me go, son? After all, I let you go, and you were just a baby.
So Jack goes away and promises he'll be better to Stan and maybe even clean up his act.
Wait a second. Where are my keys?
I swear on my grandchildren, this car is the last thing I ever steal.
Classic bait and switch, the oldest trick in the book. Don't worry, guys. Jack returns in the episode appropriately titled, Jack's back, okay, and he's back, oh yay, let's shout, make a fuss, scream it out, wee, Jack is back now, everyone sing, in our town of Halloween. Wait, what were we doing? Steve signed him and his father up for a bike race, but Stan refuses to participate because, you guessed it, daddy issues. Because his father left him, he never learned how to ride a bike.
No, he had more important stuff to do. Daddy, will you teach me how to ride this bike?
I'm in a meeting.
Me neither, without training wheels, don't flatter yourself. I'm 24 and I'm turning 25 next month and I have no clue how the hell they work. As a sign of his daddy issues, Stan has kept a metaphor from his childhood in the garage.
I've kept this stupid bike all these years. Now it's a neglected, rusty mess, just like my relationship with my dad. This bike is a perfect metaphor.
English major. Ever since Con Air, we discover that Jack hasn't communicated with Stan because who would have thunk? And he has no clue where his father is. So he's basically back to square one, where he has a father who's out there but abandoned him for no good reason, and he doesn't know where he is. Steve overhears this conversation and takes Stan to prison to meet somebody.
Hello, son.
Dad!
Oh my god, he has the production code of the episode on his uniform. Jack says he got framed for robbing a jewelry store and he's in prison. But he insists that he's changed, but Stan obviously doesn't buy it. He's not Satan. Like, dude, he's a literal jewel thief.
I'm only behind bars because I was framed for robbing a jewelry store.
He's innocent, Dad. And he's gonna prove it at his trial next week.
It's like saying I'm not really a YouTuber. Besides, what spurned your change? Steve, being naive as all hell, believes in the toxic Italian virtue of family. He does believe his grandfather and says they should bail him out and let Jack stay with them until his trial. That way, they can all bond. Stan doesn't agree.
Steve, let's be realistic. Last time I saw my dad, he stole my car and left me stranded, so you'll have to forgive me if I'm a little skeptical of his motives.
Dad, he's changed.
And honestly, I'm kind of on Stan's side. Like I said, Stan has valid reasons for hating his father. He never kept his promises, he was a horrible dad when he was around.
Oh, great. Now it's making a black tinkle out of the whoozy water. Mom taught me about cars because you were gone.
And when he left, things got even worse. Father or no, Jack isn't sorry about what he did, and you kinda have a right to cut off toxic people even if you're related to them by blood. Remember this line?
Can't you just let me go, son? After all, I let you go, and you were just a baby.
Besides, Stan did trust Jack once before, and Jack still stabbed him in the back and lied to him for 30 years and tried to use him as a patsy. So how do they know if he's telling the truth now? You remember my video on Sideshow Bob? I hate when they do episodes where a character insists they've changed practically overnight, and everybody believes it except for one character, when they really didn't change, because who could have thunk? And to accomplish this whole twist, they have everybody but that one character be out of character and then shame them for it only to reveal they were right. It's like you're insulting my intelligence as a viewer. Granted, we'll get there when we get there. Jack comes to stay with the Smiths and Stan is on high guard, as he should be.
Put on this tracking device. You get more than 50 feet away from me, you're going back to jail.
This really isn't necessary. I told you, I've changed.
To get the plot rolling, Klaus says the Smith men should go camping in order to bond, but it doesn't work since Stan never learned how to fish, and nobody is waking up at 4 a.m. to go crabbing, even though crabbing is really fun.
Hold it. You can do it. Now, pull hard. Just yank it. Get your net out. Don't give up. Attaboy, you're doing it.
Jack is making up for lost time and teaching Stan how to fish. Aw, maybe he has changed, but I doubt it. Stan finally comes around to Jack, but yeah, it's too good to be true. Jack has suggested to Steve that Stan can help him get a more lenient sentence.
Character reference?
If you swear he's a changed man, the judge will have to believe you. You're a government agent. It was all Grandpa's idea.
I knew it!
Damn it, why do I trust myself? Obviously, Stan practically disowns Jack once again, and Steve decides to, in turn, disown Stan. He wants to run away with his grandfather. Really? Damn, dude, did you forget about not Jack? Like, wow, you're like the wind. Jack decides to go with, but he has a few ideas.
Oh, darn.
What?
This tracking device. If only we knew where your dad keeps the key.
I know where my dad keeps the key. It's in the fake rock under his mattress.
Wow, and I thought Snow White was naive. I thought Alice in Hightower was naive. I thought, we get it, kitty, you gave me Conrad too. You didn't let me finish, Catherine. And I thought Pepperidge Farm was naive. Okay, now I'm done. Jack and Steve go to a bar where Steve starts to talk crap about Stan. But Jack actually comes to his son's defense for once.
I wish my dad was more like you.
Kid, if your dad was more like me, you wouldn't even know him. I'm just saying, go easy on your old man. He wasn't as lucky as you in the father department.
No, he's just saying that to put up a role. He hasn't changed at all, I bet.
Don't talk about your father that way.
God, Grandpa, you've been defending him all night. And all he does is say terrible things about you.
Kiddo, they're all true.
Oh, so as it turns out, Jack didn't really change at first, which I think is a cool take on the concept. He really did intend to play his son and grandson for fools, but he grew fond of them and realized he made mistakes he has to own up to. And he decides to turn himself in because, let's be honest, he really did do the crime he was accused of. I mean, he robbed an art museum with Stan, and the FBI has proof of him.
I'll talk to the judge!
It's okay. I'll do my time. It'll be nice to stay in one place for a change. Especially now that I have a reason to stick around.
He decides to do his sentence instead, and he will be out. Okay, how long do you get for jewel theft? Okay, so Google says in Virginia it depends on the crime. It can range from anywhere from 1 year to 20. I'm guessing, considering his rap sheet, probably 20, but since he also pled guilty, I could see him having a slightly reduced sentence. Okay, let's say 15 to 18. You guys cool with that? And then we get Minstrel Krampus, which honestly really should have been the episode to write him off for good. It was a great finale. Christmas time is coming, and I have a question. Were you like me, where your parents parents would use the threat of Santa to get you to behave around the holidays. Or the wooden spoon, or Santa wielding a wooden spoon. But even if you misbehaved, you still got presents anyway, because what parent is really gonna deny you Christmas unless you're a Jehovah's Witness or from a religion that doesn't believe in Christmas in the secular or religious sense? Well, the episode shows that Steve becomes spoiled milk around the holidays, and Stan tries to teach him a lesson by taking him to visit his grandfather.
Dad, tell him how much jail sucks. Tell him about the beatings, the rapes, the overly washed Egyptian cotton bath towels. Tell him so he'll stop being bad.
Really, Steve? Did you not remember all this? Steve, outside of the gangs, prison is boring. Like, it's basically a college campus with a ton of rules, small portioned meals, and no classes. Oh, and you have to work for literal pennies and essentially do slave labor because this is America. And think of college with no cell phones, no parties, no alcohol, none of that crap. Rather than tell Steve that prison sucks, Jack tells him the story of Krampus, the devil of Christmas, from when he was a boy. Oh my god, were you guys like me and found out about Krampus from this episode? Comment down below. Anyhow, Krampus is like the anti-Santa, where he punishes the naughty ones while Santa rewards the good ones. Krampus, however, doesn't just give you a lump of coal. I mean, maybe he does in hard-to-reach places, but rather he'll beat you or shake you. Or both. Mythology-wise, I heard he also eats kids, so ew. One Christmas, Krampus was supposed to punish Jack, but he was neck-deep in Mutterstrudel, that bastard.
I saw that Krampus had beat me to it. He was neck-deep in Mutterstrudel.
Also, that sounds like a euphemism, the whole strudel thing. Wait. Can I hear that again? I love the delivery.
He was neck-deep in Mutterstrudel.
So Jack trapped Krampus in a magical copper pot, and Krampus hasn't punished anybody since.
Hey, I'm bored. Let's go.
Krampus is real. Real, I say! The copper pot's in your basement.
Yay! Albeit, Jack, you're the reason kids suck around the holidays. I hope you're happy. Of course, Steve doesn't believe the story, and neither does Stan, even if they live in a house with an alien in the attic and a talking fish. But Jack swears it's real, and the copper pot, aka the proof, is in the basement.
They're super long and super fast! Check your basement, Stan!
Do it, Stan. It'll tell you the secret about how to exterminate the Titans. Stan isn't willing to do either or, but he starts to change his mind when he overhears Steve reduce Francine to tears.
Let me out.
I can't. You're a demon. It would be unwise.
Krampus promises he'll punish Steve, but he instead decides, hey, two birds, one stone.
No! Bring me Jack! If you ever want to see your son again. Wait!
Obviously, despite working for an organization that can clone dodos and teenagers, Stan has no idea how to deal with an entity like Krampus, so he goes to his father for help, promising to release him in exchange. Jack agrees.
I know where it is. Give me the keys. I'll drive. See ya, sucker!
Stan, there is such a thing as handcuffs, and have you not learned by now? Jack runs away, but let's transition. Steve is punished by Krampus, and he obviously hates him for it. I mean, screw getting beat with birch branches. I would hate being stuck in a danky-ass castle in Bavaria during Christmas time. Imagine how cold it must be, and you probably don't even get a blanket. But he learns that Krampus does care. This hurts him a lot more than it hurts me. If you excuse the therapy and counseling he'll probably need as an adult.
When you punished me, it hurt you more than it hurt me, didn't it?
But I endured it because I care.
Krampus, spanking is wrong as a punishment. You knew I had to. But he doesn't know any other way and feels like Jack was his biggest mistake. He just wanted to teach him a lesson, but he went down on that damn strudel. Oh, I wonder what it tastes like. Steve and Krampus bond, but anyway, Jack is at the Langley airport trying to get to Jamaica.
Any of your concerns with our customer service rep, sir?
With the Irish plane, man. Rude boy! Haley, you work here?
Oh yeah, BTW, Haley's working at the airport to afford some popcorn for the family or whatever. Go watch the episode. Honestly, I don't really like this part of the plot. It feels like it's kind of unnecessary compared to everything else, except for like this one scene. And there could have been a better resolution. Like, she's only there as an emotional trigger for Jack, and then we never see her afterwards. Like, what if we got a post-credit scene of her presenting the popcorn to the family and we got to see them react like, hey, Haley, we don't like popcorn or something, or I don't know. Jack is perplexed that Haley is working on the holidays, and he's further perplexed that Haley is only working to afford a gift for the family that hates her despite her insistence they're full of love. Dude, have you ever worked a minimum wage job? Honestly, it sucks working on the holidays, but you make so much more that day than regular overtime. But no offense, I don't think a popcorn that big would be that expensive. It's probably like, what, $50? Actually, I did Google, and the first result I found was $26 on Amazon. And remember, this aired back in like 2013. That's probably like way cheaper. Like, Haley, you just gotta work a day, not even, and you'll be fine. Haley sings a song which honestly isn't my favorite considering the songs we got earlier, but it does convince Jack to fly to Bavaria instead to go confront Krampus and rescue Steve. But since I don't know a good place to put it, I'll put it here. I feel like one problem with Jack is he doesn't interact with the Smiths as much as he probably should, except for quick moments or jokes. He barely has a relationship with Haley since almost every episode he's featured in, she has her own subplot. I mean, his funeral episode even had this quote.
Should we wait for Haley and Jeff to come back from their camping trip?
Gosh, Haley. How about we take lots of pictures, and if she ever finds out, we show them to her.
Smart.
When the pair together could be fertile ground considering what a charming jerk he is and how he bonded with Steve. And in Con Air, we got a cool idea of Roger having a schoolyard crush on Jack.
'Cause I think he can do 100.
Roger, do you have a boy crush on my grandfather?
No, of course not. Why, did he say something about me?
Only for that to be abandoned after the first episode. And he's not even like, I don't like Jack anymore because he left me. Heck, I don't think he and Klaus even interacted at all unless you count the camping trip idea.
Why don't you go camping? Think of the male bonding opportunities. Fishing, hiking. Oh, you could make Spätzle by the fire.
That's a great idea!
Yes, Jack is supposed to influence Stan, and Stan is trying to break the cycle, therefore we'll include Steve and Francine in the mix, but it would have been cool to see him with the other Smiths for a change. Just saying, one thing I liked about Carter from Family Guy was, even if he's a horrible father and father-in-law, he's a really good grandfather. But back to the episode.
How dare you come to my house!
Also, it's my fault I didn't give as much context, but while the airport crap was going on, and Steve was befriending Krampus, like, wow, that is like some Stockholm Syndrome crap, Stan traveled to meet Santa out of desperation to get Steve back, who agreed if Stan were to help him kill Krampus. A shoot-up happens, yada yada yada. This episode was supposed to air around Sandy Hook and it got delayed. Did not realize why until the ending. I was like, what's the big deal? Wow, this episode was juggling. But juggling is cool, but Santa reveals he's evil himself in the pursuit of profit, somehow.
The naughty kids buy the most toys!
How does that make money?
Do not overthink this. Just know that I'm in bed with big toys, so I'm making money.
If you say so. But Santa's name is an anagram for Satan, so makes sense. Santa intends to finally get his revenge on Stan by shooting him, and he did shoot Krampus. Oh yeah, I should have said that. But Jack takes the bullet. As he's dying, he apologizes for all he's done.
You came to help me.
I finally realized the importance of family, and I wanted to tell you, I'm proud of you, son.
See, at least he apologized. Now this should have been the end of Jack, but thankfully, Jack lives on in a way. His blood gets merged with Krampus, and the pair becomes some kind of hybrid. And Jack decides that as penance, he'll live the rest of his life as Krampus and carry on his legacy by punishing naughty children.
So, will you remain Krampus forever? Like all the time?
Who knows? In the meantime, it's Christmas Eve, and I've got a lot of bottoms to blister.
Now this could have been a good ending to write off Jack. Krampus is presumably immortal unless he gets shot, so Jack would spend all of eternity making up for his mistakes. Be it abandoning his son, being a jewel thief, trapping Krampus, and hey, because Krampus is confined to Christmas, he wouldn't have to appear outside of Christmas specials, if at that. Just be like, oh yeah, Dad can't join us for Christmas this year, he's punishing some kids over in England. Heck, in 19 Northwest, we learned that Jack did subconsciously take on Krampus-related traits. For example, Krampus used to live in downtown Baltimore with Sheila, and now Jack works as a bus driver in Baltimore most of the year.
Well, technically, I'm living in Woodlawn, but yes, for an out-of-towner, Baltimore.
Oops, my bad. I've only been there like twice. And he does spend the episode trying to help people, including his family and all of the children. Alright, so we finally got to Ghost Dad. But this is where my main problem with Jack comes in. Now, I have no problem if the show espouses that Jack was a bad father, because there's no denying that he really was. And the flashbacks we got about it are hilarious. Like, how we find out Stan is so repressed because his first experience with the talk was watching Jack bang a hooker. Hooker! At least he got something out of it, even if he was still married at the time. Plus, honestly, Darren Norris feels like he's having a blast playing him.
There you are. You remember this part, I know. Your balloon dog had just popped, and you were looking for your mommy like a bitch.
Well, I feel like Ghost Dad kind of ruined Jack, and there's like zero clear-cut reason for it. It's like Death Picks Cotton from King of the Hill, where it ignores all of his past character development, all of his good moments, to give us a pretty episode in order to write him off, when really that shouldn't happen. The only thing I liked about it was Roger as Teresa Caputo and the Jeff and Haley subplot, because I believe in fairness. Blood Crieth Unto Heaven did do something similar, where Stan learns his father left since they were poor. He had to steal produce to feed his family, but Stan wanted the police commissioner at his birthday, which meant that Jack had to give up his freedom to give his son the party he wanted.
That means it was my fault you left.
Bingo.
I destroyed our family.
You sure did, kiddo.
Except it made no sense compared to what we got. And honestly, Betty and Jack were not a loving couple. Jack left because he was an unrepentant jewel thief who committed various crimes, he was in a loveless marriage, and he didn't want to raise a son. And the main reason he became a jewel thief was he was dirt poor. Like Stan's version of going to the zoo was watching Roadkill. Thank God this episode, although funny, and one I do like, is non-canon as far as I know. Ghost Dad is like Blood Crieth Unto Heaven, but 10 times worse. Jack goes back to committing crimes. He tries to ruin his family, including Steve, the grandson he probably favors the most, and they basically write him off for good. Admittedly, it's not as bad as Death Picks Cotton, because they at least imply that they can bring Jack back one day. Again, I guess. But for all intents and purposes, he's basically no longer appearing outside of flashbacks or quick cameos. The Smiths are watching TV when suddenly they see a news broadcast. Jack has stolen OJ's infamous Bronco.
I hate to be this guy, but the Bronco wasn't OJ's. It belonged to Al Cowlings.
And gotten into a high-speed police chase. Oh, that's kind of deja vu. But wait, why did Jack return to his old ways? That's weird. So much for being a better person. They never even say why. Like, he hated living in Baltimore, or he hated being Krampus, or I don't know. Like, I know at one point they're like, he's the seasonal version of Krampus, but yeah, that's like kind of weird. Like, was Krampus a bad person himself before, like, the whole thing with Jack? And he's like influencing him? Or, I don't know, I'm rambling. Jack gets shot in the process.
Oh my God! There is so much popcorn on the floor! This is why we need a dog, Francine.
No, he's dead! And I was gonna say, maybe being Krampus could have saved him, but I do like he got shot, because we do see that's the only thing that can kill Krampus. This, of course, means they have to plan Jack's funeral, which will feature bagel bites instead of a repass.
Start without him.
That feels weird.
It's my day, and we start when I say we start!
Ugh, look, I do wish I have a repass at my funeral, but I want there to be bagel bites. That's a great idea. Steve is taking Jack's death hard and starts having nightmares about him, while Stan is kind of like Yellow Diamond and refuses to acknowledge how much he's hurting. Instead, he starts a band and has like a goth phase, but he starts to project his issues with Jack onto them and cries nonstop.
Lure him out of the van with a surprise. What does Stan like? Oh, how about a trampoline?
I'm not sure empty trampoline promises are gonna fix this.
Francine thinks that Stan needs closure and a chance to forgive his father, even if I'd argue he's done that like 10 times by now. They decide to have a seance to get Stan to think that Jack is apologizing, but as you can guess, yeah, it works a little better than expected.
That might be the real deal.
What are you wearing? I'm dead a week and you start dressing like a lesbian Raider fan?
Dad, I'm trying to forgive you.
Okay, two things. First, I think the reason it worked was Jack is the seasonal spirit of Christmas, and the Smiths are, like, connected to Christmas the same way a hernia is connected to... I don't know anything about hernias. But he knows how the supernatural works. And second, damn it, you were in a better place with your son, and this is how you freaking act? Unfortunately, Beetlejuice rules are in effect, and the ghosts can't leave the house they're assigned to, so he's stuck there.
But it seems I might have bound Jack's spirit to the house.
Oh, perfect. Holy hell, Stan, with the lights on, I can really drink you in.
But this could also be a good episode. Maybe Jack and Stan can bond once again, because say what you want about Jack's back, Jack admitted he only acted that way at first in order to get something out of them. Here, he would actually have to be nice because they're all stuck together. Really, there is no freeing him as far as they know. But no, of course he's a jerk to everybody.
Steve, which one is your friend again?
What? None of them.
Ah, this movie is too confusing. Ooh, I've got to dump some ectoplasm.
Really? The Smiths decide to exorcise him. Death for the dead! Jag wants to leave too, but he knows a better way and tells them about a ritual. Of course, like idiots, they believe him.
I didn't expect so much kneeling. Do you think it's rude if I run upstairs and get some knee pads?
Hey guys, awesome seance! Lots of good old-fashioned chaos. You lose in your faces, 'cause look who's holding all the aces. You know, I gotta see that movie, damn. They go along with it, and it seems to work, but there's still one act left, and Jack is gone into Steve's body. Even if he bonded immensely with him and was arguably his favorite grandchild, at least if he took over Haley or Jeff, it would work because he barely knew them. But I do like Scott Grimes and his impression of Jack.
Just a pencil, right? Wrong. Deadly weapon.
Steve, come on, I'll drive you home.
Damn. I gotta go. Later, Snorkel, Mushy, Fat One.
I'm sorry, like, Scott Grimes does not get enough recognition. He's awesome. Dan starts to suspect something's up, but Jack pushes him out of the car.
And what's the name of your goblin character in your little dragons game?
Puerto Rican Charlie.
Dad!
Stan realizes Jack is possessing Steve for some nefarious purpose, and he wanted to steal Steve's body so he could steal stuff out of the sports museum. Since Steve is so tiny and agile, he could get past the lasers.
I tried this before and failed. My body was too girthy, too substantial. I needed a wisp of a boy to finally get the holy grail of sports memorabilia.
Oh, that could explain why he didn't pick Haley. Which makes me wonder if he intentionally did all this so he would get shot and therefore his ghost could take over Steve. And if that's the case, why not just tell Steve to help him? Why go through all that crap? Like, it kind of feels like Jack did something stupid between 90 Northwest and this episode, and that's why they hate him, but like we're missing something here. Long story short, the Smiths are able to save Steve, but Jack is essentially trapped in hell. He is stuck in the museum, but he can't touch anything.
No! You sissies ruined everything! Oh, no! I'm trapped! Don't leave me here!
It's kind of like you want water, but it's just out of arm's reach, and you can never attain it. It's like happiness. A fitting punishment, and I guess their way of saying that, yeah, they could bring Jack back if they so choose, but probably not right now. I mean, Christmas is a thing. Just say, like, he's trapped in the museum then, but in December he becomes Krampus because he has a job to do. But for now, this is Jack Smith. Normally, I do like Jack, but I hope next time he appears, the show kind of remembers he can be a good person when he wants to be. Look, don't get me wrong, Ghost Dad is a good episode, but I feel like they could have switched it with Minstrel Krampus, where maybe somehow Jack comes back to life or whatever, and then he realizes, like, oh, I could be a good person now with Krampus, and that writes him off. I don't know. The show could always find a way. This is American Dad, so do it. Anyhow, bye.
Come on, open this door.
Yeah, I'm not really comfortable with that. I'm gonna have to talk to Jack.
But he's not coming back.
He'll be back. He'll send for me.